Now welcome from Southern Michigan Bank and Trust, our good friend Bill Jors, and from Summit Township, the Chancellor, Todd Emmons. Good morning. How are you guys?
I'm doing well.
Great, thanks.
It's always good to see you. I think we should get started with. Go ahead.
You tell me, what do you want? Are you going to throw some questions at me? Or what do you...
Go ahead. Go ahead. Michigan State.
Oh, the tunnel incident.
Yeah.
But then I thought we will be doing that until the next break, so
Okay.
maybe we better forego
All right,
that.
fine.
Maybe.
We'll just
but
talk.
But we will talk.
All right, we'll just talk business then.
I'll ask you about Badgley Road. We were just talking about JC Dot and all the road improvements. Is Badgley Road, do you consider that part of the township?
Well, yes, it is, but it's a primary road.
Yeah.
And so that's due to be reconstructed in 23.
Okay, so it's still to come.
Yep.
Good.
Yep, exactly.
A lot of activity in Summit Township. I've noticed along Wax and Horton, there's been a lot of land clearing. What's going on with that?
Well, that particular corner I can speak to. Southern Michigan Bank and Trust has decided to go ahead and buy that corner. We haven't closed on it yet, but we have a purchase agreement, and we're just doing the due diligence on the environmental at the moment and trying to decide how many buildings we're going to put up there.
Yeah. So the corner.
And,
This is the corner of Wax and Horton. Correct?
Wax and Horton, right on the corner. And it's good high ground, and there's 4 acres there. Visibility behind it, you can see forever. It's a beautiful location, and it would be a great location for a new bank in town.
It's amazing kind of how that whole really area has developed over the last 25 or so years, and now we're seeing some nice investment.
Yeah, and I think what facilitated that, or kind of gave it a little bit of a nudge, is we had it was parceled up in much larger parcels than it currently is, and apparently that wasn't that attractive to many people. So that when we the board rezoned it and we cut down the parcel size, that seemed to spur a lot of activity in it. And of course, what was fun was when that was first developing, when the folks that owned the lot right there in the corner that Bill and John are looking at there, when they started working like that, I mean, the phone at the township hall was ringing off the hook.
Right.
And I said, just tell them it's a Chick-fil-A or a Popeyes or something like that.
Are you the one that did that?
Get people lined up for a week, parked down the world waiting for it to open when it came about. But, and then the property up there right there at the T of Horton and Badgley Road, when they cleared that, every time something goes there, the phone starts ringing again. What's going on? What's going on? They hauled some dirt in there to kind of fill it in. It's a little low on the backside of it and whatnot. So, yeah, everybody's always looking for something. There was rumors one time maybe the bank building there, we were hoping maybe a Schlinkers would go in there, or, so who knows? But needless to say, yes, there's a lot of activity.
So, Bill, how quick before we see dirt flying? Do we know?
Well, that is yet to be determined, but I would say in 2023 you would see us start to dig a hole. We want to do we're working closely with a civil engineer that Summit Township's worked with over the years. And we want to do something first class and make a big impact to that area. And we know that corridor fairly well, and it's proved to be a good banking location, and will be again.
Yeah, earlier this year when John Waldron and Bill Jors announced they were joining Southern Michigan Bank and Trust, it was evidence of an expansion of the bank into the Jackson market. Besides this proposed location in Summit, where else is Southern Michigan Bank and Trust looking to locate?
You asked me where I've been working just before we came on. So we have 2 locations in addition to this Wax and Horton identified. We did sign 2 leases. We have a lease on the entire 4th floor of the post office building.
Oh, nice.
And so we are meeting with the design person next Wednesday to look at the new layout and how we're going to construct things there. And so far that looks fantastic. And then we also signed a lease in the 200 right there on Main Street there to have a branch put in there. And that should be open in the first quarter 2023.
Wow.
So that's moving right along. The branch, we want to get that built as soon as possible, get some visibility, and show the commitment to Jackson.
Very cool. It's awesome.
That strip of Horton Road, a lot of development lately, new Crimson Oak. We've got new ABC Bakery, some beautiful existing businesses like Kelly Express and Prime Cuts, and it's really, it is, along with Vandercook, the downtown essentially of Summit Township.
It really is.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, here lately, we've had some comment from some residents. In other words, those are all good things, right? Those pay the taxes that pay for the fire department and, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a lot of concern too, like, oh boy, what are we going to do? Put up another Family Dollar or whatever?
Panera Bread
Why are
down
they,
there?
yeah. Or why are they cutting all these trees down, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff? So here, just out of the woodwork as of late, yesterday, in fact, I got a call from a party who is getting some citizens together, and they are interested in looking at buying several of those lots and keeping them in more of a conservation easement in perpetuity, if you will, or maybe some type of a park setting, whatever. But in other words, obviously to keep it from being, quote, developed. And we have another party who's expressed interest in donating some land in that Horton Road area and putting in a park in honor of their parents. So there was a administration at one time in Summit that was famously quoted as saying, "We're not in the parks business." However, I think there's room for that, and I think that's something that we need to look at. And there's a lot of young families in that whole area there down Horton Road, the Roosevelt Drives and Roosevelt Circles and Harding, et cetera, et cetera. And this one particular individual even spoke of contributing to extending the pathway on up Horton Road and getting it up to the Polly's area, the Knights area up in there. And if you took it down Horton Road, of course, you could get to Ridgeway and then access all of that housing all back in through there that could come to the trail. So I think there's a lot of merit to that. It's yet to be determined, and we have to have the opening salvo, so to speak, to see how we would go about that and how that would progress. But that's probably a good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're gonna have
I see a lot of bikes on that
Yeah,
road.
and we're going to have a lot of new home and condo owners in that area in the future as well.
Right,
So
and
there's
that
gonna be
development
more-
between Horton Road and Badgley,
Yeah.
that's going to be 76 units, I think,
Yeah.
something like that in there. So, yeah.
It's good stuff.
And that goes, where's that in relation to Southern Michigan Bank and
Just
Trust?
southeast.
Well, yeah, it would be.
Within a stone's
Yeah,
throw,
probably
It would
Eight
be,
iron.
the
right
subdivision.
past G&L Party Store across
Okay.
the street.
Are they gonna bring back the pepperoni rolls?
Oh, I sure hope so. I'll tell you,
Is
that was-
Action
that was
Sports
a-
coming back too as part of this?
When you were a young guy, those things were a staple.
They were awesome.
If you were in a rush and you had to get somewhere, you could always swing in there and get a couple of pepperoni rolls, and those would hold you. Yeah.
It's amazing when I say G&L Party Store, people know immediately what I'm
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about.
Oh,
but
How about when
if
it
I
was
say
a
what's
cheese
there-
box? There was a place here called the Cheese Box.
You're old. Yeah.
See, he's-
You're dating. You're dating yourself.
You know where everything was at one point.
You remember Al's up on the corner.
Oh, Al's Country Store? That was the greatest thing in the world.
I
Yeah.
do remember people talking about Al's.
Yep.
But, that's before Bob.
Delaware Punch. Man, oh man.
If you catch me, Todd, and Bill on the street after the show, we'll be continuing this conversation. And that's one of the things I always like about running into you guys is you guys do know so much and care so much about Jackson. Always good to see you guys.
Good to see
Thanks
you.
so much.
Glad to
Thanks
be
for having
here.
us on.
Appreciate it very much.
Yeah, Bill Jors from Southern Michigan Bank and Trust, and from Summit Township, Todd Emmons. More of the morning show right after this.